Welcome to Focus on B, the series where I spent about 20 minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on. Now, this is Platypus. I don't know why they called it that, but it's Platypus. This is a shoot-'em-up, as you can see, horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up, which has a very different art style. It's all claymation, and that is not super common. There are plenty of games that have done it, but not as many as other art styles. But is that the only thing that makes this game special? Well, actually, maybe, I don't know. I'm not, maybe you've noticed, but I'm not the most familiar when it comes to the side-scrolling shoot-'em-up genre, or any shoot-'em-up genre at all, because honestly, I don't play these games much. Also, this video is not going to be like my Ducks video that I did, because that game, it's in the same genre. But holy shit, is it more forgiving, because this does not fuck around. Platypus is a challenging... It's a challenging game, mainly because, honestly, I cannot fucking tell when I get hit by things. Like, maybe it's just the way that the backgrounds interact with the foreground. Just the fact that, hey, look, okay, so you have these particular colors that are used. That's one thing. The colors are very vibrant, and they look great. But I do feel like some of the stuff in the foreground gets a little bit lost. In fact, it does something that I really do not think any game should ever do, and that is foreground parallax, and it covers vital information. There are times when enemies will be hiding at the bottom of the screen, and it looks cool. Definitely looks cool. However, it's not beneficial to gameplay whatsoever. You're probably also wondering, wait, if you're familiar with this game, you'll know this game initially came out in 2002. I think it was released on Steam, but I'm playing a different version. I'm not playing the Steam version, I'm also not playing the 2002 original. I'm actually playing the PSP version of this game. Why? Well, because it's a little bit different. I want to showcase, for one, look, it's widescreen. That's pretty sick, right? But another thing is, well, check this out. I'm gonna just hold the button down, and there you go, and it's just gonna shoot. That is not the case when it comes to the original game. Maybe it was updated in the Steam version, I'm not sure. But, the original 2002 release that I have played, yeah, it did not do that. You had to, fuck me, you had to mash the firing button, which I know is not totally uncommon, right? More than one game has committed that crime, including Ducks, the original version. I played Ducks 1.5, and coincidentally, that's what I want to talk about. This weird phenomenon with just games being released, then kind of going under the radar, and getting re-released, and still not being ridiculously popular, but finally making those improvements that make them much better. And in this case, we're talking about two games that are very, very similar. I just cannot believe that it took them until the PSP re-release in 2006 to add this fundamental feature of rapid fire. But other than that, though, are there any other improvements? Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100%. I know there's a difficulty slider. Actually, yes, this game has an easy mode. The original did not have a difficulty slider, I don't think. Well, it wasn't a slider at all, it's just a selection. Oh my god. Also, another thing, you probably noticed when I died, I kept my ability, my even faster firing mode. Yeah, that special ability originally would leave you. You would just lose it when dying. Fortunately, they changed that. They basically, I imagine maybe some of those changes get reverted on like the higher difficulties, but I'm not even about to try that. Okay, I'm playing on easy, and that is too hard for me. I spent so fucking long trying to beat the second stage, and now that I'm commentating, I'm probably not even gonna beat the fucking first level. Like, this is not gonna be like my Ducks video where I almost beat the entire game accidentally because it's so forgiving. No, this is not a forgiving title. Oh my god. So you have to avoid things. Everything has this pattern. But the thing about spaceship shooters is that no human brain is fast enough computationally to be able to, in real time, actually assess every single individual situation. What you're supposed to do is memorize patterns and recognize particular enemy designs with their behavior. So the second you see that enemy and the way it looks, you know what to do beforehand. These guys, for example, they just kind of sit there and you shoot them a couple times. They don't really they have like no unique qualities. These purple dudes, they will kind of lunge forward. The orange guys, they will fly like that. You get what I mean? They'll have a particular formation. Fuck you. No, I'm restarting. I mean, I'm not restarting. I'm going to continue. If I get a game over, I'll just go to the next level because I have unlocked a couple of stages. And I have no idea how that's possible. And I can't guarantee that after I'm done with this, I will go back to the game and try and complete some more levels. It is rewarding, I gotta admit. Like, the rush you get when you actually do complete one of these tough-ass levels is quite significant, I must say, because it's not easy. And sometimes I'm not sure how... Okay, here's one thing. The game just did it, and I don't like it when it does this. Fuck. Not that, but it's something else. Is when enemies pop out from the left side of the screen. I guess it does encourage you to not camp, like just to do... Yeah, look at that. See, another dude just coming out from the left side of the screen. But it does mean that there's basically no safe space. Now, of course, that allows the game to be more difficult on the whole. And generally, that's why you play these games. These games are very short. Shoot-em-ups are traditionally very short games, which is interesting because they don't take, from what I can tell at least, they don't take like a ton of resources to make assets. And okay, with this game, there's an exception because of the art style, which I imagine they have to actually make the stuff out of real clay and then take the picture and then, you know, clean it up in Photoshop and all that. But generally, I mean, like, I highly doubt that shoot-em-ups have the same kind of budgets as a first-person shooter, right? A big first-person shooter, and yet they have these really small stages, despite the fact that they could probably be made very easily and very quickly. Not small, I mean small number of stages, although they are quite long, I gotta admit. And I love how it like, kind of smooches up as you shoot the satellite. Oh, for fuck's sake, see, I didn't even see that. It's like you're trying to focus on a million things at once, and there's a certain gene pool that allows you to do this, and I do not possess it. I was not born within the family of those that can play shoot-em-ups very well, apparently, because holy shit, I don't know how anyone's supposed to do this, you know? Okay, the yellow guys, they have their pattern, and you avoid that, and wow, it's frustrating too, because you know it's not that hard, you know it's the first level, and you know that you just suck. But it's like, well, what do you do about it? Other than just take it. It's just, okay, well, I've sucked at this game, but I have to admit, it's fun, right? Okay, well, I do have a problem with this game, though. The sound design it's actually not as good as the original. The original game had, well, I think the sounds themselves are the same, but holy shit, the balance is, like, way off. On the PC version, for example, this right now would not be deafeningly loud. Like, I'm probably gonna have to turn down my freaking game audio to like -20 dB. I usually do about -15 to 10, depending on how loud the original game is. Here, no matter what I do with the audio, I'm just gonna turn it way down because like this is gonna drown everything out. You know, listen to this shit. Unfortunately, it also means that you're not gonna get to hear much of the music, which is really cool. I mean, the music itself is really great, although it's not actually original. Pretty much every track in this game is not a remix, because that's not correct to say. It's a new arrangement with a new sound of a bunch of tracks from classic Commodore 64 games, actually. I don't know which ones exactly. I'm not really into the Commodore 64. I may be into a lot of outdated media, like a lot, to the point where it's almost, it makes you wonder, like, hold on, has this guy played any game released after 1982? Of course, dude, I'm actually currently playing... I'm doing beta testing for one of the latest releases, and that is my own game. I've come up with the name, by the way. Watch it totally change. Watch this recording whenever it gets uploaded. Date the name, because okay, basically I want to call it Over This. It's because it has the letter V in it, and my character has like a triangular head. So it's like, even though I actually didn't stylize the logo that way, I thought it looked kind of cringy when I did it. When I actually put his head as the V, it looked kind of bad, so I just changed it, but I still want to keep the name. You know, it's a platformer, simple 2D platformer and stuff. It's got like the 16-bit art stuff. I don't know if it's actually properly 16-bit, like it's adhering to the limitations of the Super Nintendo, but it's within the same sort of resolution and everything looks that way. Anyway, so yeah, I do play more recent games. So recent, in fact, that maybe by the time you're seeing this, it's not even out yet. But it should be out because I'm already on the level making stage. I got like 5 levels by now, so you know, basically I'm not afraid of something new. But at the same time, I'm not super into Commodore 64 because, I don't know, just it's a matter of practicality, and I do have my limits when it comes to how back I want to go, you know what I mean? Like, I can't say that I spend every day playing fucking NES games. I really don't. In fact, I can't remember the last one I've played. apart from maybe, oh, well, Super Mario Bros. Free, of course, did a Let's Play of that. But other than that, it's like, you're not going to see a lot of that on the channel. I mean, maybe you would, to be fair, if it's like really interesting. I've got a couple Super Nintendo games planned, so, you know, that's close enough, I guess. To be fair, the Super Nintendo it holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I never owned one, but I watched a lot of people play those games, you know? Like, a lot of my nostalgia, as I've already mentioned in a lot of my other videos, is vicarious, you know, thanks to the internet. And, this game, though, honestly, I imagine that I maybe would have played it back then, considering that it has no DRM on it. It's completely DRM free. It's not on GOG. Maybe it is. I don't know. But like, it doesn't have any DRM, which means that if like I knew someone back then who had the game, I could have just taken their disc and just copied it. Or if I was the one, I could have given it, you know, because that's how the lack of DRM works. Although generally that's a good thing because it means that games don't get broken with Windows updates. Because something I learned a while ago during my weird obsession with demo versions of games for some reason, despite having already played the full versions of most of those games, was something I noticed is that, hey, when these games don't have DRM because it's just the demo, why would it have DRM? They work. They just work. You know? Oh my god, I actually completed the stage. That's amazing. And wow, I'm actually like, I've technically started a new game now. Did I just undo my wait, did I just make it so that I did. I just undid my progress. I've lost the next stage. The one after this one, I no longer have it. That is amazing. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pause the game for, no, okay. Let's see how long I can survive without shooting, because I want you guys to be able to hear some of the music. Okay, I gotta shoot again. Yeah, it's really cool. Really great production. Really simple sort of electronic sound, but really great sense of like space to it. Whoever did the music did a really good job. But you know, I've actually never played Platypus 2. This game got a sequel in 2007. Did you know that? Yeah. I'll just check it out. I mean, it seems to be about the same. It's literally the exact same game. Most of the assets are the same. It just seems to be like an expansion, essentially, just more of this. But considering that I haven't even beaten 3 levels of the first one, I don't think I really have any reason to go ahead and try the next one, but you know, I might do that too at some point. I don't know. Definitely not for a video though. There's no point in doing the same thing twice like that. Yeah, well, what was I talking about? I was gonna bring something up that yeah, you think anyone's ever done like a pacifist run on a shoot 'em up? That's gotta be possible for at least a few, you know, because everything is meant to be avoided. Oh, wait, no, but there's bosses. Well, unless those don't count. You know, like a pacifist minus boss fights. Because, come on, you have to beat the boss to progress. But other than that, I wonder if that's like a category. Like a speedrun category, like pacifist minus bosses. Because, obviously, you gotta do the bosses. But that would be really interesting if there are people who just spend their time trying to avoid the projectiles instead of... I mean, you have to avoid the projectiles. You have to avoid the projectiles anyway, but what I mean is... not trying to fight back, just accepting the fact that, okay, there's the enemies, they're there, and they're just obstacles, and I have to maneuver around them. That would actually make for a very interesting challenge. In fact, I imagine in some ways it might make some of these games easier, because a lot of the challenge actually comes just from the fact that there's a billion things on screen at once, and that makes it really hard to focus. See, this right now is very, very easy, as you can tell. But, oh, okay, evaluation. We managed to complete another section of the level. I love seeing that. Overall success, 59%. I'm not very good, clearly. I mean, I've died several times now, and I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not gonna complete the stage in this episode. This episode, implying this is a single part series. There's only one, and that's it. Also, again, I've gotta mention I dropped that whole intro that I used to do because it doesn't make sense anymore. I've retired the Let's Play series, so... what's the contrast? You know, it's like, well, single part as opposed to what multi-part, you know what I mean? Doesn't make sense, so whatever. So regardless, yeah, I don't know, I think these kind of games, I really try and like understand their appeal. And as I've gotten more into game development, it's like I kind of want to make one of these, although the concept of like having all these different enemy patterns is kind of daunting to me. I'm not really sure how I'd go ahead and do that. I know how I just have individual enemies show up, but they have to be instance and free from memory and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, game development stuff. I'm sure that by the time this video is uploaded, maybe I would have figured it out. Maybe I would have, like, researched a bit and found out, okay, this is how you make a spaceship shooter. or I would have just done it in my own stupid-ass way based on my understanding of the engine, of Godot. That's what I'm currently using. I don't see myself really branching to any other engines as of right now, other than, you know, Unreal, of course, but that's because I like making maps for the original Unreal, and by making them, I mean, like, occasionally opening the program and seeing how they made certain things. Like, did you know that the way that the developers keep track of how many of whatever you have broken or activated is via a counter, and it sends a signal over to a different, over to the, well, actually, yeah, it sends a signal to the counter, look, whatever it is that you want to be counted, and then that counter sends a signal to something else when it reaches its max number. So that's a fun little bit of trivia for you. But anyway, I do love the way that enemies get damaged. It looks like someone took a pencil and just put some bullet holes in them. That's probably what they did. They just took a pencil and then they added the extra detail of like the little bit of gray around the holes. So it'll you know, and what if like maybe all of these are grayscale and they were colored in post? That's a possibility. I mean, I imagine that it would be much cheaper to just buy a bunch of fucking, just buy a whole shit ton of black and white or even just gray clay and use that, and instead of having to get paint or different colors of clay, like, no, you would just paint it in Photoshop. And you could have like as many colors as you want and whatever colors you want, and you can make mistakes and fix them, and yeah, they probably did that, you know what I mean? Doom did that too. Doom had like these models. And yeah, we're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep going as far as we can. This is my last credit, but we are almost done with the episode in terms of length, so I think it'll be fine. I think I've pretty much said everything I want to say about this game. It's quite fascinating how common it is for, I mean, it makes sense that the next release would be the better one. It's just surprising that some things would be overlooked, even on the first release. Like, how do you not put a fucking rapid fire in your shooter like this, man? Like, come on, like, it's like, seriously, you have to dedicate an entire portion of your brain to doing that. That's the thing. You can't just automate it. If I have to do this, I'm now actively thinking I am repeatedly pressing the button, and now my brain is working a little bit slower. I mean, it already works pretty damn slow because I'm a fucking dumbass, but when I have to think about actively shooting like this, it totally fucks with my muscle memory and makes these games way harder. You know, I couldn't play Ducks when it, like its initial version because of just the lack of rapid fire. This game too, if I had actually played it, if I had nostalgia for it, you know, I'd probably look over that, but if I had played this back when it came out, well, I would have been 1 year old, but let's say a couple years after that on someone else's computer or something like that, or on my own even, then yeah, I probably would have hated it. I would have been like, oh, what the fuck, but I have to keep thinking about shooting and also moving, and those guys are such dicks, seriously. But I'm so glad that they implemented this in this version. And you know, if the fucking Steam version hasn't fixed that as well, if it doesn't have rapid fire, then play the PSP version. I don't care. I mean, if it has, then yes, obviously the Steam version would be best, because I imagine it probably has widescreen and maybe even higher resolution visuals, though. You know, to upscale these visuals, they wouldn't be able to just do that. They would have to actually make them anew, unless they still have the original higher resolution photographs. I highly doubt they took, you know, they took the pictures that they used at the same resolution they'd be displaying them at, like 800 by 600 or something. No, I'm sure they have much higher resolution versions of those same photos. So, you know, yeah, you gotta save space and all that, but come on, they can. There's not that many assets. Well, there's a lot of assets, considering that every single enemy in the game has different sprites depending on whether or not they're going up or down. Like even your own ship has a different sprite if you're going up or down, right? Now that's only about 6 sprites or something, but still that could add up if it's a really high resolution photo, right? So I'm curious as to how they're going to handle that. And also, I think the game was getting like completely redone at some point in the future. Maybe it's already been redone. I'm not sure. I really don't research a lot of this stuff beforehand unless it really, really interests me. But still, yeah, I'm just gonna, no, somehow I keep getting an extra life and I keep not losing, but I'm gonna just try and survive a teeny tiny bit longer because I'm, alright, that's it. That's Platypus. I almost said Ducks, but no. That's Platypus. This has been Focus on B, the series where I spent about 20 minutes, as you can see, talking about a game like this that I've got some thoughts on. This was Platypus, 2002, technically, but also 2006, PSP/PC.